Hey gearheads, I know I'm out of focus. We're gonna fix the camera in a second because it wouldn't be our live stream without a little bit of technical issues. Kinda, sorta, we're getting there. I'm Alan Bailey. Welcome on in to Shifting Gears live on Sunday, February 26th, 2023. We have 700 miles to break down, so make sure that you don't go anywhere. Kyle Busch won the final race out here at the 2-miler. Well, technically, John Hunter Nemechek just won the final race out here. We're officially done. This speedway is in the books, so let's get things started. That is right, gearheads. Before we break down the final 2-mile race and almost 30 years of 2-mile racing out here in Fontana, California, make sure you mash that subscribe button and make sure that you check out AmericanRacingNetwork.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. I'm not okay. Let me just start off with that. And the chat is open, so go ahead and start getting your comments, your thoughts, your questions. I want to know. Give me some, in no particular order, by the way, of your favorite moments out here at Auto Club Speedway. Just list them off, comment after comment. I want to flood these chats with all of the good times out here at Auto Club Speedway, because as you can see, the track has just gone quiet, which I'm just now realizing we just caught that on camera. That is the last time the PA system out here at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, at the 2-mile track will ever play anything ever. It'll probably make me a liar in about 10 minutes, and that's fine too, but my gosh, we have the emotions. Well, first off, we have a brand new sponsor. Check it out, Dubby.gg. If you're looking for good, clean energy with no added sugar, no added hormones, no added artificial flavoring or dyes or colorings or any of that chemical nonsense, you got to check out Dubby.gg. And right now, if you go ahead and you put in code ALLEN10 at checkout, you can get 10% off your order, and they'll give you a little something extra from what I understand as well. I absolutely love it. I've made the switch from coffee, and I'm a big coffee guy. I'm like a Gilmore coffee level coffee guy. And I've made the switch from coffee over to Dubby every day. Check out Dubby.gg, code Allen10 at checkout for a discount. So on the program today, we're going to hear from Kyle Busch. I got a chance to talk to him in the media center. Media center talked to him as well. So we're going to hear from Kyle Busch, I should say, about his win. Does he feel secure? Does he feel like he gets to kind of take it easy now? Or does he have to really step it up here and rattle off 2, 3, 4, 5 wins in order to consider himself safe? We're going to talk to Kyle Busch about that, or hear from Kyle Busch, I should say. We're going to talk to Chase Elliott. A lot of the Hendrick fans were acting like he just lost the championship. I don't understand it. The man honestly had a really good run. He needed that good run. Chase Elliott really needed a good run, and he got a good run, but he was very disappointed. We're going to hear from him. Also on the program tonight, you're going to hear from Denny Hamlin about a number of things: the sponsor search, everything that's happening at 2311, what's going on with Kurt Busch, and the process of adding a third car and maybe even an Xfinity program down the road. Yes, we're going to talk to him about that. Plus, I got a chance to talk to Kurt Busch, so we're actually going to get a chance to hear from Kurt Busch about what he thinks about his recovery process and whether or not he's going to get back on a Cup car, Xfinity car, truck, and if he's going to do it with 2311, because he indicated that he is talking to teams, plural, which tells me maybe a ride at 2311 isn't necessarily there for Kurt. We're going to hear from Kurt and Denny on that subject. Plus, we're going to hear from Tyler Reddick about coming out here at Auto Club for the final time. Got a chance to catch up with your 2023 Daytona 500 champ, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., talk about whether or not he feels safe and whether or not he feels he can compete for a championship in 2023. As I saw a single firework go off on the back straightaway. Meh, bleh, just bleh. You got to get one last firework in, right? In the chat, Jonathan Osuna, the saddest part is not being able to see you next year. That is, I think, the most depressing thing for me. We were out here in 2020 because we were out here in 2020 And then 2 weeks later, the world shut down, and it was awfulness, and we didn't have racing for a while. But I kind of got my Auto Club Speedway and my racing fill in 2020. And then in 2021, we didn't get a race out here because there was still lockdowns, and NASCAR was like, you know what, we're going to go to the Daytona Road Course. So we missed the race in 2021 out here. Coming back in 22 with the new car out here last season was amazing because it was like coming home, literally. I've been coming to this racetrack since I was 7 years old when it opened back in 97, do the math. And honestly, it's home. I live about 15, 20 miles from the track. I pass by this place often, and to me, it's home. I've always watched racing out here. Even as a kid, I was into the racing out here. Yes, it is not the most engaging, let's just say. I'll admit that. But it was still phenomenal racing that we saw out here at the 2 Mile track. It took about 10 years for it to come in, admittingly, but once it did, we saw some great NASCAR racing out here. The open wheel IndyCar kart stuff legitimately made my heart stop. I thought we were gonna die. They were gonna die. Like, I remember watching that, and I swear to you, I lost 10 years of my life watching open wheel races out here at Auto Club Speedway because that's what it felt like. It honestly felt like that because we were seriously just struggling all the way with that. But 700 miles out here at Auto Club Speedway to kind of finish the race off out here. My gosh, it was a lot. And I'll say this, it was weird because the cup race went on like a normal cup race out here. It felt very normal, very natural. And then the post-race stuff, normally they let us take our time. We get to interview whoever we want. But honestly, they were rushing us. They had to rush Ross Chastain up and into the Xfinity car. They rushed Kyle Busch back into the media center in order to make room, frankly, for the Xfinity drivers. Even we were chatting with him. He was just sitting down as the pace laps for the Xfinity race were starting. So it was very odd, to say the least. We were about halfway through stage 1, and Kyle was still talking in the media center. So it was very odd to kind of watch an Xfinity race while talking about the Cup race. The Cup race very much felt like second fiddle. A part of me really, really, really would have loved to have seen the Cup race under the lights with the Xfinity race going earlier this morning, but frankly, we didn't see rain all day, thank God. But honestly, it was cold. It was still wet. They were running jet dryers out here all morning long. They started at around 5 in the morning running jet dryers and everything, and the sun really never came out until about 12 noon and or 3 o'clock local time. And even then, it was kind of spotty at best. So it really wasn't a good atmosphere out here to run a race under those conditions. So they did the right thing NASCAR did by running the Cup race and then running the Xfinity race. I just wish things would have been different. I mean, I can have my cake and eat it too, right? I want to go ahead and throw it out to Kyle Busch because he said some very interesting things. I want you to hear from Kyle Busch. So we're going to throw it back down to the media center and hear from Kyle Busch. Experiment a little bit, or do you guys just get to fine tune because you've had 3 extraordinarily good runs the last 3 races, and now you finally have the result to show it?
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know. That's to be determined. I would say that we need to continue on and pour the gas on the fire right now and go out there and continue to get wins and have fast cars and run up front. So, we want to get those playoff points. Playoff points is a big deal for at the end of the year. I've won a couple championships having a lot of playoff points, and the couple of years that I haven't had a lot of playoff points, I haven't made it very far. So, I know what's important, so hopefully we can get some more of that. It does open up opportunity, for staying out in particular races or maybe pitting and getting tires in particular races because you do have that win, so you can take more chance, yeah. But I don't know that you'd mess with setup stuff really much.
Kyle, do you think that this one win has locked you into the playoffs, or do you think it's going to take multiple wins? Potentially, we could see 16-plus drivers win races this year.
Yeah, I mean, last year we were super close to that, so who knows? Definitely, I think that there's still parity, and you'll see some guys that win that you probably wouldn't expect to win at a couple tracks. So we'll see what that does end up looking like. But am I safe right now? I'd like to think so. But if you ask me again in 10 weeks and there's 10 more different winners, then I would probably change my answer.
That you guys get to experiment a little bit, or do you guys just get to fine tune because you? Yeah, I'm running my own stream, and I'm already out of focus again. But I did want to give you a top, let's go 10 finishing order out here. Kyle Busch gets his very first victory back in a Chevy. I put out a tweet saying that he got his very first win out here back when he was in the Hendrick number 5 in a Chevy. And to come back out here, get the last win at the 2 Mile Auto Club in a Chevy for RCR with his first win for RCR. First win back in a Chevy after being with Toyota for 15 years. Honestly, you know, a lot of people were saying, no, he's won here before. Yes, I know he's won here before. I was here. I was literally right about, hang on, I'm going to try to figure out how to show this off right here. I was sitting about right there, give or take. I was sitting basically between the start-finish line and turn 4. So it was right around there, if I had to guess, that I was sitting here. And I remember because that night race was, I believe it was the 2nd or 3rd night race ever out here. And if I'm being blunt, NASCAR fans that were coming out here for day races came out around 11 a.m. The race didn't let up until about 8 p.m., give or take, maybe a little bit later if I'm remembering correctly. And let's just say they didn't pace themselves, and a couple of them blew motors. Let's go with that phraseology. So it was a little bit of a struggle for some of those guys, but people were getting rowdy as Rowdy got the victory. By the way, got a chance to talk to Rowdy Burns himself, Michael Roker. You might know him as, I can't think of his name right now, Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. No, he's not making a comeback, but I asked him about the possibility of going back into that role and potentially Days of Thunder 2, if there's interest. Here's what he said.
Bailey ARN. You know, we've seen kind of a resurgence in Hollywood of remakes and sequels decades, in some cases, after the original movie came out. So Tom Cruise just did that with Top Gun. So would you have an interest in Days of Thunder 2 if that is a project that Tom and studios approached you? Sensing that's a yes, Rowdy.
Ching ching. That's a good answer for you. Of course I would. Where would you want it done?
In general, I just
Hawaii.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know.
So
no,
then
yeah, I would.
Follow-up is, where do you see your character from Days of Thunder being, you know, in 2023, 2024, down the road?
Of course, owner-operator. Well, I ended up as owner. Owner. I wasn't operating, but I was, the Mellow Yellow car belonged to me, right? So, yeah, it'd probably just continue along that line. But, you know, when you do these things, the older guys that were who they were, they always want to get it back. You know, and the fans would want to see me and Tom racing against each other. You know they would.
You guys just want to get a couple rental cars and head down to Daytona Beach again?
Why not?
Sounds good. Thank you. Alan Bailey, ARN. You know, we've seen kind of a resurgence in Hollywood of remakes and sequels decades, in some cases, after the original movie came out. So Tom Cruise just did that with Top Gun. So would you have an interest in Days of Thunder 2 if that is a project that Tom and studios approached you?
Yeah, so Rowdy's down as I've gotten blurry again, but want to throw out to Chase Elliott, who was really dejected. Like, yes, finishing second sucks. Like, I acknowledge that. I get that. But, like, this guy acted like he just died. Like, Chase truly doesn't like to lose. And I'd go so far as there's a chip on his shoulder, I think. I think he doesn't like the fact that he finished second to Kyle Busch just a little bit more. I don't know. Listen to what Chase Elliott had to say after finishing second out here to Kyle Busch at the final 2-mile race at Auto Club Speedway. You let me know. What do you think about Chase's response here? Club, just what are your emotions knowing this is the last 2-mile race out here?
Yeah, I hate that that's the case, but I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. Obviously, I can't do anything about that, so that's way above me. But I hate to see it go. This was a great racetrack, and we didn't have very many good runs here, but today was good. So I guess it was nice to send it off on a somewhat high note, and yeah, hate to see it go, but obviously it sounds like this is it.
One of your better runs, compared to the end of last year.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you've kind of maybe turned the corner from where you guys were at?
Well, hard to say after one day, right? But I was definitely really proud of just our whole group for sticking together. I mean, I touched on it a second ago, but we definitely ran poorly, those last couple months. Had a couple high spots here or there, but I feel like we played more defense than we were on offense. So I hope this trend continues. We'll have to get to some other tracks and kind of see where we stack up. But as far as today went, I was really proud of our team and really proud of the effort we put in over the winter, just sticking with each other and going to work. So we're ready for the grind, and I'm looking forward to it.
What did you need at the end right there to catch Kyle right there for the win?
I mean, it's always really, really tough to say. I mean, I didn't feel like I had a very good pit sequence on and off pit road. That would have been a big one if I could have gained a big chunk of time there. But still, even if we were good enough to get by Ross, that was going to take some time, and Kyle was really stretching his lead at that juncture too. So, and then by the time we got to second, I think he was probably just pacing himself out front.
I'm second out here at Auto Club. I mean, I do think he was right. You look at what Chase Elliott said right there. It really came down to executing on pit road, but more specifically, because this is such a high-speed track, because this is so much about momentum, when you can get back on the gas quicker. This track, sorry, I was about to say this track comes down to, I need to get used to saying this track came down to in the past tense. Trying not to cry on camera right now, sorry. This track came down to really getting on and off pit road, getting back onto the gas sooner, coming off these turns, getting that run down the front stretch, down the back straightaway. That's how people made moves. That's where Kyle made the move going into turn 1 on Chastain before the pit stop. That was extremely critical. And Kyle just flat out got on pit road and off pit road better. He's, I feel like, done more sim time than Chastain. And you can hear Jeff Gordon's leaving the racetrack right now. Probably. Actually, that's probably one of the many celebrities that were out here. We did see a handful of celebrities. I saw Ryan from West Coast Customs honestly hanging out here a lot. He was running all over the place. Tiffany Haddish, who was out at the Clash, came back for this one. Like, I didn't see her on TV, but then again, I didn't get a chance to watch that much of the TV broadcast. So let me know in the comments, did you guys see her on the TV broadcast? I didn't hear her on the radio broadcast. After Daytona, and he wrecked, from Clint, and the lack of energy, enthusiasm, or excitement about what they're doing because they all hate their jobs and they really dislike each other. Oops, did I say that out loud? I just don't like watching Fox broadcasts anymore. They're garbage. I mean, Fox is trying to make changes, but I mean, if you put lipstick on a pig, guess what? It's still a pig. So, good for Fox for trying to be better, but they need a whole new broadcast crew. That's a whole nother discussion. But Tiffany Haddish, at one point, I went up to her to try to say hi, and she literally went, hold on, they're battling for the lead. And she went nuts. We're honestly up here in this setting as I go blurry again. And she went nuts watching this lead like I've never seen. Her enthusiasm was off the chart. I absolutely loved it. It was wonderful. I hope to see her at a NASCAR race sometime in the near future. Heck, maybe even an NHRA or maybe even an IndyCar race down. We go to Long Beach in a few weeks here, a few months actually, it feels like. So I absolutely love that she was totally into it. But back to the pit road, executing on pit road, that's where you made or broke your run today, ultimately. You look at Chastain, he ultimately, I don't want to say he is inexperienced, but you have Kyle Busch, who is a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champ, an Xfinity champ. You have Ross Chastain, who has 2 Cup wins to his credit. You have Kyle Busch, who now with today's victory has 225 victories across all 3 of NASCAR's top series. And he did take a shot at NASCAR. It sounds like really wants to run more races. And looking at Kyle Busch, he is significantly better on Sunday, significantly better when he gets to run on Friday night for a truck race or Saturday for an Xfinity race. And honestly, I think that if NASCAR would allow it, he would probably run the full truck, if not the full Xfinity season, on top of the full Cup season. It's not that he hates his family, it's that makes him better. I mean, ultimately, you want to win on Sunday, but winning on Saturday is a whole lot of fun, too. Winning on Friday night in a truck is also pretty fun. Winning is fun. Who knew? Like, that's not a novel concept, but that's kind of where we are, where Kyle was racking off wins. Him and Kevin Harvick throughout the 2010s and the late 2000s, I should say, really were executing throughout the Xfinity Series especially, but also Kyle with the truck. I mean, you look at it, Kyle Busch is the most winningest driver in the Xfinity Series and in the Truck Series. I think he's going to start an Xfinity program sometime down the road now that Joe Gibbs is not telling him what to do. And I think he realistically does have a shot at the championship this year. I did not expect him to come out of the gate this strong. I knew he was going to win a race this season in that 8 car. I did not think it was going to come in race 2. I didn't think he was going to have a shot at the Clash. He had a major shot at the Clash and almost won that thing. He was less than a lap away from winning the Daytona 500 last weekend. And this weekend, he actually does get the victory, the much-deserved victory. Because let's not kid ourselves here. He had the best car at the Clash. He had the best car at Daytona at the very end, and he was executing. And like he said on the radio, if this was 1998, he would have won the 500. So I feel bad for Kyle Busch. I think we can officially kind of mark him as that Earnhardt curse, where he's not getting a victory probably until he hits year 20. So, I mean, maybe that's coming in a couple of seasons, maybe not. But I do think we're going to see Kyle Busch rattle off at least 2 more victories throughout the season. Whether that comes in the next 2 weeks or whether that comes in the playoffs with 2 races to go, I don't know. But I do think he's going to be a serious contender for the most victories out here in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2023. And honestly, kudos to RCR. I think he's elevated that program. Not that it was a slouch last season at all. I mean, you had Austin Dillon, who was running pretty consistently right there at the end of the season. You had Tyler Reddick, who, if I'm being frank, I don't think was getting the best equipment after about the midway point of the season. But I do think that you look at that program, it has stepped up. Kyle Busch has stepped up. I would go as far as saying, was Joe Gibbs Racing holding back Kyle Busch? Was Toyota hurting Kyle Busch? Maybe. Realistically, let's look at this. The millisecond, and I do mean the millisecond, that Ty Gibbs really started in ARCA and really started in the Xfinity program, Kyle Busch started suffering. I don't think that was a coincidence. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Joe Gibbs was giving his grandson more of the resources and more of the attention and taking away from the Cup program. I said it. I don't care. That's, I think, what's happening. I saw Joe Gibbs multiple times after Kyle won the race. First off, the man is not aging gracefully. I'll say it. He's not. I mean, to his credit, giving him as much respect as humanly possible, he was looking a little bit rough. I'm legitimately concerned for his health. I'm not lying here. And secondly, he looked a little upset that Kyle won. The fact that you have Kyle Busch and RCR finding all these sponsors, signing all these new sponsors, and finding people who want to be in the Kyle Busch business, and Joe Gibbs Racing, who frankly still have opening sponsor slots for this season, who are looking for major sponsorship for Denny Hamlin in 2024 and beyond, should be concerning. I don't think that that third car at 2311 is a coincidence. I do think that that is something that Denny and Michael did specifically because they know if things don't work out with Denny Hamlin at Joe Gibbs Racing in the 11 car, where's Denny Hamlin going to go? He kind of already has a race team. He kind of already has a relationship with Toyota. And you're telling me that Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin can't find a sponsor? They've like tripled their sponsorship income in the last 3 years. And oh, by the way, they sold out and brought new big brand name sponsors into the sport their very first year. Yes, a lot of that was Bubba Wallace's, I don't even want to call it success, even though he was successful. It was Bubba Wallace's activism and popularity in pop culture and him making news headlines for, frankly, being a decent human being. I know most NASCAR fans hate Bubba Wallace because, frankly, they're still angry about the fact that he can vote. which, frankly, y'all need to just get over. I mean, it's kind of been a thing for a little while now. You just need to kind of accept it. You need to move on, okay? I'm just saying. But realistically, you need to get over your hate. You need to learn. You need to hear other people's opinions and their sides. This is not the show for that, but I'm not going to go ahead and teach how not to be a racist 101 here on the show. But really, just honestly sit down and talk to Bubba Wallace, judge him as a person. A lot of people think he's smug and that he's out to ruin NASCAR and that he is ruining NASCAR. How? More people are watching the sport. Just because you don't like their skin color doesn't mean it's bad for NASCAR. It just means that NASCAR is finally adapting to the times and becoming culturally relevant for the first time in decades. That is huge for this sport, honestly. I really hope if you're one of these people that absolutely hate this talk, that you get over it and that you honestly get on board, because there are some great times ahead for NASCAR, and I do sincerely believe that. But I do want to throw it out to Denny Hamlin. I did get a chance to talk to him and about everything that's going on with him, with everything that's happening with his contract negotiations. I did get a chance to talk to him when we were at the Monster Energy unveiling a couple of days ago, when it was pouring cats and dogs out here. And oh, by the way, rain's a-coming. It's going to start raining here probably in the next couple of hours. So now that NASCAR's gone, we're getting Storm 2 coming into California, unfortunately. So Denny Hamlin talking about not only Monster Energy, but how his sponsorship search is going, what the plans are for 23XI moving forward, and more importantly, for me personally, what is going on with Kurt Busch coming back into a Cup car in the near future.
500 winner and now podcaster extraordinaire. I think we can successfully check that off with the success your new podcast is having, Denny.
Yeah, I mean, I figured if I was going to be a NASCAR driver and NASCAR owner, I might as well enter myself in the media corps as well. So have all three bases covered, but it is fun. I mean, we really do enjoy it, and you know, this isn't work to me. I'm doing what I love.
Absolutely, and we got a brand new number 45, the Beast Unleashed car out here. It's just got to be great for you as an owner just to see a really great relationship with Monster just continue to grow and expand.
Yeah, we're excited about it, certainly, and as unfortunate it was to lose Kurt at the end of last year, to be able to keep him within our race team and then bring on a new driver like Tyler, who I really believe in the future is going to win tons of championships. I'm really excited about it. And now, a historical moment for Monster Energy to enter the alcohol market and use us and our platform to show the world.
And we were talking to Tyler earlier about just returning to Fontana this weekend. It's got to be a huge opportunity for 23XI and for Tyler because he was so good there last year.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think that he can win at every racetrack. I mean, the dirt track, the road courses, the big ovals. He's just really, really good at what he does, and that's what I see in him. And as diverse as our schedule is nowadays, you have to be good everywhere, and he is.
Absolutely. And you look at Kurt, it was devastating to the fans and obviously to you guys to have him had to slide out of the car. But he is recovering, and he is trying to get back into the Cup car. So you as an owner, are you going to potentially make that third car available to him if and when he's ready?
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's why we ran Travis in the 67 at Daytona, is to prepare ourselves if we needed to have a third team for whenever that day comes for Kurt, then we're going to be ready. And so they did a great job being the highest finishing 23XI car. And, it's a growing process. We have new headquarters going up in Charlotte that we're really excited about. So we're just, it's a fun process right now. I love working at something, seeing results from it and watching it grow.
Absolutely. And we saw that Tyler's going to be driving in the Xfinity car, hopefully before the Cup race this weekend. Is that something that 23XI might do in the near future, just to get an Xfinity program going for that purpose, getting your drivers some more seat time on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, that really works because of the affiliation with Toyota, and they have, Joe Gibbs Racing and Sam Hunt Racing and Xfinity. It really makes it easy for us to let these guys go out there and get track time. And I know that was something that was really important to Tyler, when he signed with us, is that he wanted to race other series. And we never want to hold our drivers back from doing what they love. And if it makes them better on Sunday, we're all for it.
Absolutely, and we see that other owners say, no dirt cars, no sprint cars. What's your policy at 2311? Do you just let them go out and do essentially anything that makes them better in the Cup car?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as a driver, you just try to hone your skills any way you can. And my dad always used to say that, like, racing is racing. It's just a different machine that you're under. And how do you optimize that machine? And so I'm all for letting our drivers go out there and have fun in different series. That certainly there's limits to it, but I think that anything that's NASCAR related is good by us.
That sounds great. And then talking to Denny, the driver now, it was a different 500 than we've seen in the last few years, but now this is kind of the reset for Auto Club this weekend. A lot of people say this is when the real season starts. How confident are you heading into Auto Club in the rest of 2023 right now?
Well, I think we're going to be better than last year. I think that we had a disadvantage on our aerodynamics from last year that we seem to have closed the gap on. So I certainly think that the Toyotas in general will be better. And this racetrack, I mean, this is probably my last chance to win at this 2-mile oval, a track that I've come so close to winning at before. So I really want to get it done. I've never been more motivated to win at any one track than I am this weekend.
I mean, you talk about the emotions going into Auto Club this weekend. You've had a so-so history with this track, let's just say, given everything that's happened with you. So what would it mean to you as a driver to win at this track in the final 2-mile race?
Well, one thing that's interesting is drivers always pay attention to the trophy. And the trophy at the California Speedway is a very fun surfboard trophy. And we're like, I saw that, 16, 17 years ago. I was like, wow, that's a very cool trophy. I'd love to get it. And I've been close. I just haven't been able to. And it would mean a lot to me because, I mean, the fans have really turned out at this racetrack, and we're really excited to be back. And I just, after last year, kind of running within the top 5, knowing that we had a little car disadvantage, I'm excited for what we got this weekend.
And obviously things are ongoing with Joe Gibbs Racing with you, looking for, I guess, re-signing with them is ultimately your goal. Is there any updates? You guys still are obviously talking with companies and negotiating for 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, we're still in those talks, and I think that we're in a really good place, honestly. There's just a lot of outside factors, right? Is that I have a Toyota race team as well. So I have to make sure all those relationships are buttoned up for the next handful of years for sure before I can lock into one place.
I mean, when do you have time to record your podcast? Because you are an owner, you are a driver, you have so much happening right now. I mean, do you sleep? Are you a robot?
I don't sleep much. I mean, at Daytona, it happened at midnight. So I got home probably around 10 p.m. or so. I watched the last stage on TV to kind of be educated a little bit with what I was talking about, and I just went down there and did it. So it let me sleep in a little bit on Monday. So I usually we're going to do it Mondays early in the morning, but we agreed any day that I could get home before midnight, we were going to do it that night. That while it was hot, the memories are fresh, and I can really think about it.
Well, I mean, I think you guys are staying out here on the West Coast for this West Coast swing, so that's got to help the race home, is what I call it.
It does. It's going to be good for us. I got to thinking about it. I was like, oh, no, we're going to have to wake up so early. But yeah, it's actually going to be better because we're going to get home on Sunday evenings and get this thing out there. So still haven't figured out where we're going to set up the quote-unquote studio during these next few weeks, but it should be exciting.
Well, I mean, me studio is you studio, so Auto Club has a few good places, so hopefully we might be next door to each other at some point this weekend. So congratulations on the continued success with Monster Energy and now the Beast Unleashed, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in Victory Lane here very soon.
That's great. I mean, I got 3 shots at it the way I see it. I got about a 10% chance of winning this race, either me or my 2 cars, so I've just increased my odds over the last few years.
There you go, Denny Hamlin.
Thank you.
Daytona 500. Yeah, that's what happens when it's raining, when you don't want to take your expensive toys out. You film on your phone with a crappy tripod, and the angle is what it is. So, sue me. But a lot of interesting stuff there. I do think that there is a home for Kurt Busch at 2311 when and if he wants it. Denny has said that, and I don't have any reason to think that wouldn't be the case. I did get a chance to talk to Kurt Busch about his recovery, when he anticipates to come back, whether or not he might do an Indy 500 run again once he's better, and what precisely is the holdup with his recovery now that we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary in a few months here of his concussion. Not concussion-like symptoms. I'm not going to do that for NASCAR. It's a concussion. The man has brain damage. He got brain damage in the next-gen car. Let's be blunt. Let's be honest here. He brain damaged. I wish him the best in all his recovery and all of his future endeavors. I'm not making fun of him here. The man sincerely has brain damage. He sustained brain damage on the racetrack in this car. How's he doing now in 2023? Well, let's hear from Kurt Busch himself. Out here with a brand new Monster Energy car. First off, fans want to know, how are you feeling? How you doing?
Doing good. Just going to the track like normal, hanging out with the fans, doing appearances, being a consultant with 2311. That's my primary job. And then still having fun with Monster and doing some Toyota ride and drives and some things with that manufacturer. But all is good. Real close with the physical therapy on feeling that 100%. But it's when I have my heart rate up and it's race mode that I still feel like I'm a bit behind.
Hey, we're just glad you're doing well and that you're recovering very nicely. Ultimately, are you trying to get back into a Cup car, Xfinity, maybe late model, dirt stuff? What's kind of the ultimate goal for you?
Yeah, anything and everything. Just got to get that full clearance and that feel from inside with the doctors and the physical therapists of, yes, I'm ready. And then after that, I can look at calling different companies, different race teams, different programs to jump in, whether it is dirt or boat racing or doing some sports car stuff, you name it. I'm going to try to get back to whatever I can get my hands on.
I mean, we see that Larson's doing the Indy 500 next season. You did it successfully, very successfully a few years back. Is that maybe something you might dabble in the near future?
That might be out of my speed range now that I'm getting a little older, but again, just trying to get back to that 100% feel, and then we'll see what paths open up and what opportunities exist.
Well, we saw that Pastrana did a pretty darn good little job in that third 2311 car last week. Is that something that might be available for you, that third car, 2311?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're doing, is finding quality men and women that want to work on that team and get that third car in position for when, if I'm ready or if another driver comes in with a big sponsor deal. It's just being ready and having that in place, especially before the new TV deal goes down. To have that third charter, its value will go through the roof if we position it right.
Absolutely. And I mean, we see that you were in Daytona. You're out here for Auto Club, obviously, and probably most of the West Coast swing. Are you going to go out to most of the races, or just 10 to 20? What's your kind of plan?
Yeah, I was going to gas it up and be at all of them in the beginning, but then just like the other day, Monster Motorsports called and said, hey, let's go to Bike Week in Daytona. That's your neighborhood. And with Supercross down there, and then AMA, Flat Track, all those guys and girls will be down there for that event. And so I'll be part of all the Bike Week festivities, hanging out with the Harley guys. And then NHRA is over in Gainesville. I'm going to go see some friends over there on the second weekend. So I will miss a couple NASCAR races early on, but I'll be glued in on TV and with my team app. That way I can communicate with the engineers as well.
That sounds amazing. And you brought up NHRA. What do you think about Tony Stewart going back full-time racing?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's Top Alcohol, which those things go fast. I think those are 6-second cars. And with him and his wife, they're at the track all the time, so he may as well stay busy and be in the car. So I'm happy for him. I mean, it's a racer's mind, right? When you race, and then if you're around the racetrack, you still want to get back in it.
I mean, if Tony calls and says, hey, Kurt, once down the road, once you're feeling better, are you thinking maybe you'll get behind a dragster?
Yeah, there's those, even like the SRX Oval Series. Again, just anything and everything is ready once I get ready.
Well, Kurt, we wish you a very speedy recovery. We're glad to see you back at the racetrack and hope to see you in a race car very soon.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
So, to be clear, I think that Kurt Busch has a home at 2311 in the Cup Series when he wants it, when he's able to. Like he said right there, he can do stuff like go to a basketball game. He could do low energy, low impact stuff. But when his heart rate gets up, he gets lightheaded. That could be permanent. We don't know. Doctors don't know. We simply, from a medical standpoint, from what I understand, I am not a doctor, let me preface that, we still do not know about head injuries and concussions enough to fully diagnose them and fully estimate how long it'll take for individuals to recover from head injuries. Kurt sustained a massive, massive, massive brain injury. I cannot state that enough. It is understated so much by the media in NASCAR and by NASCAR, because NASCAR doesn't want you to think that this is dangerous and that their car is dangerous. To be clear, it was almost deadly. It was damn near deadly for Kurt Busch, for Alex Bowman, for Cody Ware, who took that hit at Texas. So there's not really wiggle room on this. NASCAR is going to keep saying, no, the cars are safe. Yes, they're safe. No, they're not. There is a risk, to be clear. And these guys have always had a risk. These cars have never been 100% safe. They will never be 100% safe. But this car took a massive, unintentional step backwards in driver safety. NASCAR did not intend this. I think that they are brushing it off and they are scrambling to try to fix it, and they are struggling, but they're trying. And to their credit, that's all that they can do. The NASCAR official that was in charge of safety innovations was demoted, and he was assigned to an office position, and somebody else is in charge of that now. So that's a positive step forward. I do think that that is NASCAR acknowledging internally, at the very least, we screwed up. We almost killed some drivers on the racetrack. We're trying not to do that. Kudos to them. In the chat, let's catch up on some chats here. Brian in the chat, Bubba is great for NASCAR, and he's extremely gracious last fall at a race when I asked for a photo with him. I've never seen Bubba say no to a photo. Very quick story. I remember going for picking up a credential. There's normally an office that's just outside the racetrack where you pick up your media credential in order to get into the racetrack. It's where the drivers get their hard cards and their passes for guests, and where media members pick up their passes, and where celebrities get their passes. Heck, we saw Jenson Button here today. Like, straight up. We went to go get one of our guys his credential, and straight up, we're just waiting there in line. And then we look over. Oh, that's Jenson Button. That's his child. Stuffy. Like, you don't see Jenson Button every day. And no, NASCAR didn't make a big deal about it. He was a guest of NASCAR, but he requested for it not to be made public and not for it to be made a big deal. But we have a photo of Jenson Button just outside the racetrack today. And yes, I'll share that on my social media later at Hey Alan Bailey. I'm sure the media member of ARN that took the photo will tag me in the photo, and I'll simply share it. No, he's shaking his head going, he's just off camera going, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. If it seems like I'm loopy, I'm tired. I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep. And we got up early to get out here. And on top of all that, we had 700 miles out here at Auto Club Speedway to kind of close this track down. And to be honest, I've done so many post-race radio show streams from downstairs in the media center. It only felt right to freeze my butt off up here on the roof in 39-degree temperatures with not being able to feel my fingers, so that I could talk NASCAR with you guys live on this chat. Back to the chat, by the way. Swifty Guy, what do you think of an LA street course next season to replace Auto Club? Swifty, I love the idea. However, I drive the streets of LA every day. I think that a stock car would legitimately disappear in one of the potholes in any given street in Los Angeles, and or hit a homeless person in any given street in Los Angeles. I drive into Los Angeles daily, 50 miles daily, by the way, to go to the radio station that I work at out there. And I love it, don't get me wrong. But I drive into LA daily, and I don't mind the traffic, I really don't. But Los Angeles, I think it would be possible, but I think so much would have to happen. Chicago, everybody got behind that, and really a lot went into the city and a lot went into that area of the park that we're going to be racing at in Chicago. And NASCAR, frankly, invested a lot into prepping the area, building out suites. I do think that that is the future. I do think that that is something that could happen. If I'm being blunt, why Los Angeles? Why not Long Beach? I mean, I'm just saying, you can have an IndyCar NASCAR hybrid weekend down in Long Beach. That would be amazing. I dislike going to Long Beach as a fan simply because it is insane. If you've ever gone to a street race, you know parking, getting around, getting to the media center, seeing the race, just any little thing is so difficult. I enjoy the heck out of it. It's honestly like a carnival on crack. Like, that's the best way to describe going to a street course, especially Long Beach, because you have the beach, you have a carnival type atmosphere where they literally put up carnival rides. You have vendors that are selling really cool stuff. You have restaurants that are already down there. You have what? Boats. You have boats down there. So unlike Miami, we don't have to paint a little marina. Like, we legitimately have a boat show down there. There's a pier, and there's all kinds of things to do down by the water. There's a whole vacation you can have down there. It is a destination. I do think that it would make a lot of sense for NASCAR to go to Long Beach. In fact, I'm not joking. I'm going to walk downstairs and after this show, tell NASCAR, race at Long Beach. You don't have to pay me for this idea. Have it. Talk to Roger Penske. Let's do this next season. Let's team up and let's do a Long Beach IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader. Why not? We did it before, and it was a smashing, in my opinion, success at Indianapolis. So why not do it at Long Beach? It just makes sense. You already have IndyCar essentially bringing in all of the infrastructure that you need. All you have to do is essentially NASCAR has to split those costs with him, which, frankly, I think NASCAR would be okay going 50-50 on building a street course than paying out the full amount right out of the gate. I think that actually would be an extremely cool kind of stopgap year. I'm legitimately going to go downstairs. I'm going to text Matt from NASCAR and be like, let's go to Long Beach next year, bud. I'm not kidding. Seriously, save the money. I know Roger Penske would love for NASCAR to pay essentially for half of that event to be built up. And it is late February. I believe, don't quote me on this, Long Beach has already started construction on that track that will race in April, I believe. And there's a lot that goes into that. I've driven that course both in a race car passenger seat, and in a passenger car. It is an extremely cool road course. It's a lot of history there. It is very tight. It is very technical. I do think that this car would put on a great show out there. There will need to be things that need to happen with the actual street down there, but it's a drop in the bucket if NASCAR goes 50-50 with IndyCar. Maybe you could do a back-to-back weekend type thing where you leave the track up essentially for a week just to make traffic getting in and out of there easier, because getting IndyCar in there and out of there with everything else that they have going on. They typically have Formula D, Formula Drift, who competes on the track the same week or weekend or the following week or weekend. You also have the Robbie Gordon Stadium trucks who typically run out there, but you also have other series that run out there with IndyCars. So maybe kind of doing like a back-to-back weekend's a little bit more viable for NASCAR and IndyCar out at Long Beach if that were to happen. And let me be perfectly clear. I have not heard anything. This is not a rumor. It is an idea that I just spawned. And I'm sure others have had this idea. I'm sure even people within NASCAR have had this idea and had this discussion at some point. But I'm going to go downstairs and see if Ben Kennedy's still here and be like, hey, Ben, I have an idea for you. You can save money. You can have a racetrack in Southern California, even though you're kind of doing it here, but this one's going to take some time. I honestly do think that it would be a good idea, but Swifty guy, no, I don't think that the streets of Los Angeles will work. I think that that's going to be significantly more work than going down to Long Beach, let's just say. And you can even make the argument for maybe in Anaheim location near Disneyland, maybe. I don't know if Disney necessarily wants to get involved with NASCAR. That'd be pretty darn cool, but maybe that is something that could happen down the road. There's so many different ideas on how we can do this. NASCAR is still trying to figure it out. They're very much still spitballing ideas if they want to return to the LA Coliseum for the LA Clash, or if they want to make that a points race somehow. But there's been a lot of negative backtalk to making that a points race from the drivers, from people within NASCAR, the crew members, people on the teams, but also media people all kind of went, ugh. And in my experience, when that many people go to an idea, NASCAR is probably not going to do it. So my money would be NASCAR doing something like Long Beach or a street course, but I think that Long Beach has a stronger possibility than running a street course in Los Angeles especially. There's just too many variables. There's too many things in the street that is frankly causing issues for these cars. Long Beach is already quasi-purpose built. It's already got safer barriers and everything in there, so it could work, honestly, and I think it would actually be pretty darn cool. Where are you guys watching from on the chat? Go ahead and let me know. We do have a couple of more interviews coming at you. Did get a chance to talk to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I had to make that joke. The guy caused a crash out here today, and everybody in the media center literally went, "Oh, it's Ricky, big surprise." The guy is a good driver. I don't think he needs to be in the Cup Series. I said it. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, he won the Daytona 500 last week, but we're going to talk about it here in a second. But I sincerely think that the Daytona 500, because of the restrictor plate racing, because of the wreckfest that plate racing has become in the last decade especially, I think the Daytona 500 is losing its pizzazz of being a crown jewel moment. I really do. There are those like Denny Hamlin and Denny Hamlin fans who are saying, no, winning the 500 is like winning a championship. Why is it the ones that have only ever won the 500 that say that? Is Trevor Bayne a Hall of Famer? Is Michael McDowell a Hall of Famer? Is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. a Hall of Famer? Is Austin Cindric a Hall of Famer? No. Is, hear me out, Kyle Busch a Hall of Famer? Yes. Is Tony Stewart a Hall of Famer? Yes. Neither one of those drivers ever won a champion, or never won the 500. Is Mark Martin a Hall of Famer? Hells yeah. He never won the 500. So I do think that the 500 has lost its pizzazz in the last couple of years, but we got a chance to talk to the guy who did win that wreckfest just last weekend. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., apparently when you win the Daytona 500, they send you to New York City to do all the talk shows. They send you to Chicago to talk about the Chicago street course and to children's hospitals and to do all these really cool things. But eventually, when you go to Fontana, you inevitably end up in the parking lot of a Ralph's. Yeah. I interviewed Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the parking lot of a Ralph's in Fontana, California on a Friday afternoon with about 30 people in the tent. It was a tent. I'm not kidding. You don't believe me? Here it is. Daytona 500 champ, congratulations first off, Ricky, on your very first Daytona 500 champ. Has it set in yet?
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely set in after this fun-filled week of going all across the country. Promoting our sport, promoting our team and our partners as the Daytona 500 champions. So, I feel like in Victory Lane it probably didn't set in very, very much, but Monday morning coming back to Victory Lane is when it kind of all started hitting me and kind of setting in.
When you were doing the pull-ups on the fence, that didn't hit you?
That was just pure excitement of winning a race. Not just the Daytona 500. It could have been Martinsville or Bristol, and I would have been that excited. I've waited a long time to get back to Victory Lane, and so to do that was huge for me and this race team. Just both of us getting back to Victory Lane and our Kroger's partners. But the Daytona 500, it's wild.
And you've been all over the country. We're finally getting ready to race out here at Auto Club in a few days. It's the final race on the 2 mile. What's your emotions as a driver? A lot of drivers talking about how great the track is with its worn and all the options. I mean, what's it like for you going to that track for the last time?
Yeah, I'm a little bummed. I just saw on the way drive over here that they only kept 89 acres of the facility in the last sale. So kind of questioning what the motive is there. But a lot of us drivers really love the 2 mile track here at Fontana. The old asphalt, it's worn out, the tire fall off, makes for some great racing. You can run the bottom, middle, top, very high speeds. The infield, I feel like, is super underrated. There's a lot of fans here that I've been out through the infield that, just really throw down and make a full weekend out of it. So bummed for them that, this is the last one on the 2 mile oval. Bummed for all our competitors because we all enjoy it.
I mean, I know it's Friday night. We have that event out at the track where they take the bikes out and they race on the backstretch. A lot of drivers like to sneak off into that one and kind of surprise the fans. So might you sneak out over there if you get away tonight, or are you just going to try to finally catch up on some sleep?
I'm going to catch up on sleep tonight. I didn't bring my bus out here this weekend, so staying at the hotel. But, yeah, my wife and I, we've been running all over the place, so we're looking forward to sleeping in. And just being a little peace and quiet. I have gone out to the backstretch and watched those bike races. That's one of the cool things about, obviously Southern California, everybody loves their bicycles and, their cruisers, with the lights. And it's super special seeing that around here.
And you look at winning the 500, the thing that kind of gets overlooked with winning the 500, you're in the playoffs now. And what does that mean for you guys as an organization, you as a driver, to make the playoffs in 2023?
Yeah, right now we're in the playoffs. Obviously, if there's a lot more winners, then you gotta do other things to make the playoffs. You gotta stay ahead of people in points. You gotta win another race. So our agenda from Fontana on is to act like we don't have that win in our pocket. Treat it as, hey, we need to finish. We need to average a 14th, 15th place finish moving forward to be in the playoffs or win another race. And so. We have races circled on our calendar that we feel we are capable of winning, and there's some good racetracks for us, and so that's our plan going forward.
Do you guys get to roll the dice a little bit now that you have that one win? Does it feel like you have a little bit of leeway, or is it you don't even think about it? You just attack every race individually?
For me as a driver, I just go attack every race, and whatever situation we're in that given weekend or that given moment during the race, I attack it. Kind of stage by stage, lap by lap. Now my team, on the other hand, if there's some, kind of crazy strategies that all of a sudden kind of late race might work out, for a win, or, if we give up 5 positions, if we're in the top 5, that might be an opportunity to go for the win. And but I'm going to let Mike Kelly, our engineers, figure that out. I'm just going to go out and race.
Well, congratulations to you, Mike, and the rest of the team, and good luck in 2023, and who knows, come playoff time, we might be talking about you.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Daytona 500 champ. I mean, honestly, good for him. He was very much waving the flag for dirt racers, winning that 500. So good for him, man. And there was history made with that 500 win. You had Brad Daugherty, who became the first African-American Daytona 500 winning owner, and you had, I cannot remember her name, Lori Gesector, I believe is her name, who was the first female Daytona 500 winning owner. So history made. I mean, that's cool. I mean, good for that organization. I said it before the season started, time to nut up or shut up with that team, because everybody wants to say, oh, they're a one-car organization, they don't have the resources. Bull crap. They have all the resources. They've got 700 million sponsors on the side of that thing. They have all the technology that Roush had. Ricky said it. When he left Roush and went over there, he was expecting all this downgrade as far as technology in the shop with testing the car, getting the car ready. And they had the exact same stuff, and in some cases, newer stuff than Roush. Let's be honest. Everybody had newer stuff than Roush. Roush is pretty much living in 2005 right now still. So, yeah, But Ricky and that organization have the resources. They've gone from crew chief to crew chief, and they tried this new thing where, just like last year, they brought in a crew chief that Ricky had success with in the past and tried to win, and he actually won. I sincerely believe that's Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s last NASCAR Cup Series win. I'm not dissing the man. I'm not saying he can't win again. I'm saying, what are the odds he's ever going to win another race? It's been close to 10 years, at least it feels like it, since he won a Cup race the last time. So, I mean, good for him, but he's not going to be a championship threat. He's the guy that just blew up everybody's playoff brackets heading into the season, and immediately will be the guy that gets eliminated on lap 2 of the first race of the playoffs. So, like, yeah, you know, Recky Spinhouse Jr. will continue to live on. The guy knows how to drive a dirt car. The guy knows how to put together a winning team in the dirt series. Nothing wrong with that. That's a great way to go out and have fun racing and make a living. I don't think he needs to be a Cup driver. I think he needs to be an owner, period. But we'll see how much longer Ricky stays around in the Cup Series. I do think he's probably got another 5 or so years in him, maybe 3. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. In the chat from Swifty Guy, what about 2 20-car points races at the Coliseum next year? Is that even possible for NASCAR? Absolutely. I don't know why NASCAR doesn't want to adopt standard short track racing, I guess, how you set the field for short tracks. Typically what you do is you go out there and you have the guys qualify, and then based on the qualifying times, you have heat races. Some fireworks just went off in turn 2. Interesting. That wasn't out of somebody's car illegally, I swear. Why do you ask? But NASCAR, here's what you do. If you want to make the LA Coliseum race an actual points race, qualify just like a normal Cup race, 2 laps, every single car qualifying runs. No knockout, well, you could do knockout if you really want, I don't care. But single car qualifying runs to set the field, that will set, let's call it 4 heat races with an LCQ. And you take the top half from those heat races, you throw everybody into those in order to set the field, with the top 5 from all those heat races going to the main automatically. Then you have a B main that will have the bottom 20 cars essentially filling out 20th place through 40th place. And heck, if you want, you could take like the top finisher or the top 2 finishers from the B main and advance them to the A main. And then the A main will run anywhere from 20 to 22 cars depending on how dicey you want to make things. But really 22 cars is where you really got to cap it. That's where we cap it out at Orange Show Speedway in San Bernardino, which is also a quarter-mile flat track built inside of an old football stadium that's been around for 76 years. So we know what we're doing. I think NASCAR knows what they're doing with the A and B main stuff. I just hope they do it, if they do decide to do it, for the LA Coliseum race. It's possible. It really is. It's possible. Just whether or not you do it or not is the real question. And the real question on top of that, pit stops. What do you do for pit stops? Yes, there's a way to build a pit road at that place, but honestly, the LA Coliseum doesn't have enough space for a pit road. Quarter-mile short tracks are really tough when it comes to building a pit road. There is very much a way to do it. I think NASCAR engineers and iRacing engineers will get together and try to figure something out for that, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I don't see 2 20-field races happening out there for points. I really don't. Checking the chat here, Steve from Dearmouth, Mass. I'm the one that said something about the other evening about my father and uncle racing at San Bernardino in the 70s with the Vovos. Stefan, you made my night last night, sincerely. If you guys didn't catch it, we put on a very, 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 very impromptu, poor quality stream last night when it rained out. I was up here under an umbrella in, ironically, the exact same spot in a not great stream, and we straight up just talked about everything that we saw today, and we were kind of killing time during the rain delay, and then all of a sudden they canceled the race and they made the announcement over the PA, and you guys started screaming at me in the chat, they canceled the race, they canceled the... I was like, yeah guys, I heard their speakers right there. But I do appreciate that, because Stefan, you really made my night. Like, the fact that people know of Orange Show Speedway warms my heart, because admittingly, growing up a race fan in Southern California for most of my life, honestly for almost 30 years now, For 20 plus years of growing up as a motorsports fan in Southern California, I never knew there was a racetrack in San Bernardino, California that was still operational, let alone one of the oldest racetracks in the country. So it blew me away when I found out that Orange Show Speedway existed. It blew me away in 2019 when I got a call from a couple of the guys who call the action out there saying, hey, you want to come play on the microphone as a pit reporter with us? I said, sure. And next thing you know, I'm doing most of the races in 2019. We did some races stream only in 2020. We did a half season in 2021 towards the latter half with a new promoter. 2022 was our first full season back with the new promoter, Robert Schneider, out there, and SMH Enterprises. And 2023 is the second full-time year, third season ever, though, out at Orange Show Speedway. So check out orangeshowspeedway.org. Our season opener is actually this coming Saturday. And we did check, rain is not in the forecast, but we do have a season-long championship format for all of our divisions. We've got about 8 different divisions running out there: Bandoleros, Legend Cars, Street Stocks, Pony Stocks. We even do sport compacts, pro late models out there. We have a lot of fun with it, man. And we've had NASCAR champions race out there. Kevin Harvick raced out there back in the day. Kurt and Kyle Busch both raced out there. Even more recently, Haley Deegan raced out there not too long ago. Ron Hornaday Jr. raced out there back in the day. So there's been some really cool quality drivers that have raced out there. And honestly, we're making superstars right now. Remember the name Daniel O'Donnell. He's a guy who won literally every race in the Bandos this last year, and he's moving up to Legend Cars this year. And I do think he'll be a driver we hear about in NASCAR someday. That's his goal. He told me that's his goal. The thing that freaks me out is he interviews exactly like John Force. So he just kind of takes one long breath and just kind of keeps going and never really lets up and just kind of keeps talking through everything. And he literally thanks everybody who works on his race team and every single one of his family members. And he somehow thanks every single one, even my grandma, for making my sandwiches for me for lunch. I really appreciate that. And it's like, Daniel, take a breath, bud. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. I'm not giving you mouth to mouth here if you pass out. Like, take a breath. Take a breath. So I absolutely love what I do out there. I get to, go out and honestly, a handful of Saturday nights a year, I get to literally go on mic, hang out with you guys in person at the racetrack on a Saturday night, and great food, great people, great racing, great fun. Man, I'm jazzed to start the 2023 season, our 76th season out at Orange Show Speedway, San Bernardino, California. Check out orangeshowspeedway.org if you want to come on out. And yeah, I'm out there. I'm running around. I literally run from the top booth all the way down to the racetrack through the stands, so I'm there. So if you care to see me in person running like an idiot, come on out and watch me run like an idiot. Stefan, we also raced at Ascot. Oh, Ascot. I wish I was around for the Ascot days, man. My father went to Ascot a lot. He was there every Saturday night, man, with his group of buddies. And I wish I could have seen Ascot in its heyday. That's honestly one of those bucket list things for me. I wanted to see Riverside too. And ironically, my brother-in-law lives very close to where Riverside used to be. So and my dad went to Riverside back in the day too. I'm a racer, man. I guess technically I'm a third generation race fan. My late grandfather was a race fan as well. So I'm a third generation race fan. I guess first generation sim racer. So do me a favor. If you want a good quality energy drink that has it actually has no sugar. It has no artificial sweeteners. It has no artificial anything. It is just clean energy that doesn't give you the jitters, that tastes amazing, that doesn't have any fillers and doesn't have any of that BS, I don't know what's in this. You got to check out Dubby. They're right there. They've been here all throughout the entire stream. They've got a ton of great flavors. And if you use code Allen10 at checkout, you will receive a discount on your entire order. So check out dubby.gg. Use promo code Allen10 for 10% off at checkout. Tell them I sent you. Stefan in the chat. I also ran there in 88 and kicked their bleep. I also raced at, very cool, up in Mesa, Bakersfield. Oh, Chula Vista. Yes. I love it, man. I could sit here and talk short track racing all night with you. But we do have one more interview I want to get to before we get out of here. I cannot feel my toes or my fingertips or my nose, and my ears are still there, I think. It is pretty cold. It's in the mid-30s out here. So what I'm going to do, so I don't become an Allen-sicle here, is we're going to get to our very last interview. We heard from Kyle Busch. We heard from Chase Elliott. We heard from Rowdy Burns himself, Michael Roker, also Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I apologize. Now I want to get to the guy who, frankly, is just in a bad luck slump, man. There's no way around it. He had bad luck at the Clash. He crashed out in the 500, crashed out here today. I mean, literally, you can kind of sort of see the grass behind me over here that's torn up. I know it's not in focus, but he tore up the grass out here. Tyler Reddick, who on paper should be having a good year, but I mean, 2 Cup races, 2 points paying races in, 3 races into 2023, is just looking to finish a race at this point, let alone finish a race on the lead lap. Driver of the number 45 this weekend, the Beast Unleashed car in the NASCAR Cup Series, I should say. Great looking car out here. You got to be excited for this brand new car.
Yeah, it's an exciting new twist, and it really glad that we're getting to kick off. Having the Beast Unleashed on the car here in Fontana. Obviously we're in Corona right now, and being so close to headquarters, this is a great opportunity to unveil the new car and what it's going to look like. So, yeah, really excited for this weekend. I know the weather hasn't been the best, but I know when we do get this race car on track, it's going to be fast. We've worked really hard on simulation, and Fontana's been a really special place to me over the years.
I mean, last season, we thought you were going to take it. You had one of the best cars, if not the winning car, before you had an issue. So you got to be carrying that extra confidence into this weekend, knowing it's the final race at Fontana at the 2-mile configuration.
Yeah, no, there are lots at stake for sure. So I'm really glad that getting to run this Cup car, the plan was to run the Xfinity car, still is the plan to run the Xfinity car for Sam Hunt Racing. Whether that race comes before or after the Cup race, who knows? It was kind of with the idea to help the Cup help the Cup effort out. But yeah, I just want to take in all the laps that I could this one final time on this really amazing configuration that it's had. So looking ahead to it, we just hope the weather clears up a little bit more. But I know when we do get on track, with the temperatures down, it's going to be one of the fastest Fontanas we've had in many years.
I absolutely agree with you. And I mean, you look at the weather, we're hoping that we're going to get maybe a night race for the Xfinity Series Saturday night, which would be so damn cool.
Yeah, I know. Being, someone who's loved this track for a very long time, like I said, I've always wanted the opportunity to race here under the lights. I feel like it'd be kind of a fitting way to end it, right? To kind of get the nostalgia of the lights and racing here at night again. But it'll be chilly, but hey, I just hope, with the grip being up, it'll put on a good race. I feel like normally old wore-out tracks that are like Fontana, when the lights come on, the racing changes. It gets a lot more intense, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and it's the oldest surface in NASCAR, 28 years without a repave, and a lot of fans are heartbroken over the fact that we're losing this 2-mile track. Are you in favor of the half-mile conversion, or would you prefer to maybe just repave it and see the 2-mile track still exist in the future?
Yeah, I think repaving is not really an option. We've seen how that's worked out at other places. It's just the technology's too good or something. We just can't replicate the racing that we've had in the past. And it's taken this track, as you said, 27 years. It's taken it a long time to get to this point. It's taken my whole life to get to where it is today. So it's just part of it. So we'll see what the future has in stake. But one thing's for sure, I'm going to really make the most of this last trip around the 2-mile oval.
What would it mean to you to win the final Cup race at Auto Club at the 2-mile track?
Oh, I mean a huge amount. It's hard to put into words. There's a lot of tracks for me that mean a lot to me as a driver, and this is is towards the top of the list. And the opportunities are running out. You know what I mean? Like when it came time to repave Atlanta, those last few races we had there, the pressure was really on to get the win, and fortunately didn't. And I look at this one, and this is a track that suited me very well from day one. And I would love nothing more than to get the job done before it goes away.
You going to rip the fence as soon as you get out there lap one, or are you going to maybe work that bottom a little bit?
I'll go where they don't. I'll just figure it out.
Great answer. Well, Tyler, good luck this weekend out at Auto Club and for the rest of 2023.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, Tyler Rennick is one of the shortest human beings I've ever met in person. I don't mean any disrespect. I knew he was short. I've interviewed him on the phone and through Zoom and in person a handful of times before, but like I was doing this the whole time, and it was odd for me because usually I'm never in that position. I don't consider myself tall, so that was a little bit of an ego boost for me. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't want to leave. I mean, sincerely, I remember when they announced this place. I remember when they were building this place. I remember thinking, holy crap, they're building a NASCAR track in my backyard. I remember coming out here when there was nothing out here, when it was the steel mills and when this area wasn't as developed as it is now, when there weren't houses outside of turn 3 and 4, way off the property. I remember so much about this place. It's where I got my first media credentials ever as a professional media member when I was 17 years old, roughly 10 years after this place opened. And around that time, I was interviewing my first NASCAR drivers in those garages right there. I'm looking at them right now. That were built for Indy cars that are super inadequate and super tiny. But I have a lot of emotions. You know, this is where I matured as a reporter. This is where I matured as a person. And this has been a constant in my life through many stages, many ups, many downs, many uncertainties. And to me, this track is home. And I've been on this track dozens of times in a race car, in a passenger car, in a pace car. I mean, the first time I ever went on this track was with Jeffrey Bodine in a pace car, and I remember holding on for dear life, thinking there's significantly more banking here than it looks like on TV. You know, I remember when Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano got into it, being here until I think it was 11 p.m., maybe midnight local time, hours and hours and hours after the race. I remember calling Loma Linda looking for updates on Denny Hamlin because we wanted to make sure he was okay. I remember the death here. I remember everything that happened, and I'll always have those memories. It's sad to see this place go, really. It's really sad to see this 2-mile track leave, but times change, man. This track, I mean, they have puttied this track and held this thing together for at least 2 years longer than they should have. And this land, just like Ontario, is too valuable now. No, they're not building apartments. No, they're not building houses. No, they're not building a shopping center. Instead, they're building warehouses because the people who live in California need places to put their stuff because we consume a lot of crap. Locals fought against this, surprisingly. They didn't want more big rig traffic. They preferred the race traffic, which never happens, only happens in California because we're fans. I am Southern California born and bred. I am Mexican-Irish. My mom is from Tepic Nayarit, Mexico, and my wife is from Mexico as well, but she grew up here in Southern California, and this is my home. I spent time away from Southern California, and it made me realize I really love my home. I know a lot of people don't love Southern California. I know that. I know people don't like California and that it's the butt of the joke and that there is a specific breed that lives out in California. And I'm here to tell you that ain't us. The stereotypes of, avocado toast and purses for our chihuahuas and that kind of thing, that kind of image of California isn't us. We live outside of Los Angeles County, in San Bernardino County, this county, and we're racers out here in San Bernardino County. We're fans. We're diehards. 700 miles today to close out almost 30 years of racing at the 2-mile track, and I legitimately don't want to leave. I'm sitting here looking for excuses to continue the broadcast and continue this stream, even though we're well over an hour in. Usually I only do an hour after these races. And I legitimately can't feel my toes. I'm cold. And I don't want to leave because we've seen our last race out here. That is so depressing to me. I can sit here and talk about all the wonderful races out here, but frankly, that's for another time. Tonight, I am cold. Tonight, I need to go home. I need to see my wife. And it is past midnight on the East Coast. It's past 9:05 local time out here in California. I'm going home. I want to go home and get warm and feel this finger again because I can't feel this finger anymore, which is a little concerning. So Kyle Busch gets the final victory out here. I'm not coming back next year. We're not coming back for at least 2 years, if not 3, if ever. NASCAR has not officially announced the half-mile conversion plans. The only reason we know about it is because damn good reporters, including this guy, does the grunt work to look through court documents, read through court filings and county filings in order to make sure that you guys are up to date with the latest information. My job is to literally spoil the party for NASCAR. And do I enjoy doing it? Sometimes. But honestly, this one made me sad. I was watching this in horror the whole time. I'm excited for the half mile. I really do think it's going to be better for NASCAR because I do think that it is going to bring in younger fans. I do think it's going to bring in a lot more excitement for this half mile track, but I'm essentially standing in turn 2, borderline the back straightaway, because this pit road right there is going to be our back straightaway. That front stretch will remain, but the turn is going to be almost right here, where I'm standing, roughly, is where the turn will be. And that's weird to me. That's very weird to me. I'm excited for the possibility of being able to see the entire track clearly because, frankly, I've stood on this pit terrace looking at turns 1 and 2, looking down the backstretch, unable to see the track. And yes, NASCAR Auto Club did a wonderful job grading this place and bringing down that infield, bringing it down a story so that you could see the back straightaway from the grandstands a little clearer and from where we're standing. But you can't 100% see this track all the way around. That has always been an issue here. I'm excited for that to no longer be an issue. But I'm sad because we're losing, in my opinion, one of the greatest 2-mile tracks on the planet. And that's just part of life, man. The ending is part of the journey. And I've been standing here freezing my butt off in terrace suite number 11. This sign fell off and was sitting here on the ground. And you know what? NASCAR, I'm taking this as a souvenir because I'm pretty damn sure you don't need it anymore. So thank you so much for watching, Gearheads. I'm sad. Let me know in the comments, what are some of your favorite Auto Club Speedway moments over the past 30 years nearly? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, make sure you mash that subscribe button, give us a like, and if you really want to help support the channel, you can share this video on your social media accounts with your family and with your friends. And if you really want to help me out and get some really cool energy drinks in the process, check out Dubby.gg. Use that promo code Allen10 at checkout in order to get a discount on your order. And it helps to support me and the channel. I really appreciate that if you would do that. So, for the final time at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California at the 2-mile configuration, I'm Alan Bailey. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at the track, Gearheads.